For decision making under uncertainty, the person does not know the probability or the chances of the outcome for each decision. For example, let's say a person wants to organize a golf tournament in 1 month's time. So the outcome can either be a sunny day or a rainy day. But the person has no idea what are the chances of a sunny day or a rainy day. But even though the person does not know the chances, the person still has to make a decision. In decision making under uncertainty, there are 5 models. They are Maximax, Maximin, criterion of realism, equally likely, and minimax, regret. The first model is Maximax, which stands for maximum of the maximum. So this model is used by optimistic people. So optimistic people, they are positive, forward-looking, and adventurous. It stands for maximum of the minimum. This model is used by pessimistic people. Pessimistic people are negative, regressive, and they always play safe. To use the Maximax and Maximin models, we have to use the Payoff Table. So to discuss the Payoff Table, I will use the example used by the book by Randall Stair and Hannah about the Thomson Lumber Company. The Thomson Lumber Company, they want to manufacture and market a new product, garden shades. So to manufacture, they have 3 choices: either to build a large factory or a large plant, a small factory or small plant, or no factory or no plant at all. And then after manufacturing, they want to market their product. So the market can either be favorable, I mean the demand is high, or unfavorable, when the demand is low. So if they build a large plant and market turn out to be favorable, they will get a profit of 200,000 because the payoffs are in thousand. But if they build a large plant and market turn out to be unfavorable, they will lose 180. The negative sign indicates that there is a loss. Small plant, favorable market, profit 100,000. Unfavorable market, lose 20,000. But if they don't build any plant, whether favorable or unfavorable, they will not get anything. So this is called a decision table or a payoff table. Suppose we want to use Maximax model, which stands for maximum of the maximum. For each alternative, we have to find the maximum value. So for large plant, between 200 and 180, the maximum is 200. Okay. For small plant, between 100 and 20, the maximum is 100. But for no plant, the value is the same, 0. And out of this maximum, we find the maximum one more time. So between these 3, the maximum is 200. So the decision according to the Maximax model is build large plant. Now we want to use the Maximin model, which stands for maximum of the minimum. For each alternative, we find the minimum value. For large plant, between 200 and 180, the minimum value is negative 180. For small plant, between 100 and 20, the minimum value is negative 20. For no plant, value is the same, 0. And out of the minimum, we find the maximum. So between these 3 values, the biggest is 0. Not negative 180. Negative 180 is the smallest because it is negative. So the decision according to Maximin model is do not build any plant. But some people are not 100% optimistic or 100% pessimistic. So for these people, there is another model which is called the criterion of realism. This model uses an equation.
For each decision, calculate alpha times maximum plus 1 minus alpha times minimum, where alpha is the degree of optimism. Alpha ranges from 0 to 1, where 0 represents someone who is 100% pessimistic, while 1 represents someone who is 100% optimistic. Different people have different levels of alpha. For example, if someone has alpha of 0.8, that means that person is more optimistic than pessimistic. If a person has alpha of 0.3, that person is more pessimistic than optimistic.
Suppose for a person, his alpha is 0.8. So we calculate for large plant, according to the equation is 0.8 times the maximum. So between these two, the maximum is 200 plus 1 minus 0.8, which is 0.2 times the minimum. So between these two, the minimum is negative 180, which gives 1, 2, 4. For small plant, we get 0.8 times 100, which is 76. And for no plant, 0.8 times 0 plus 0.2 times 0 is 0. So between these three values, the biggest is 1 to 4. So the decision is build large plant. The next model is called equally likely. This model uses the average or the mean. For equally likely, we find the average or the mean for each decision. For large fund, the average of 200 and negative 180 is we add 200 plus negative 180 divided by 2. So there are two values, which is 10. For small, we have 100 plus negative 20 divided by 2, which is 40. For average of 0 and 0 is 0. So between these three values, the biggest is 40. So the decision is build small plant. Before I discuss the last model, I'd like to discuss another table called the opportunity loss table. The opportunity loss table can be derived from the payoff table. We can make the opportunity loss table from the payoff table. The headings for the opportunity loss table are the same as the payoff table. So large, small, no plant, favor and unfavor. Let's say for payoff table, favor market. Between these three values, the biggest is 200. So in opportunity loss table, we minus from 200. So it means 200 minus 200 minus 200 minus. Let's see. 200 minus 200 is 0. 200 minus 100 is 100. 200 minus 0 is 200. Okay. Or I repeat it one more time. So between these three values in the payoff table, the biggest is 200. So minus from 200. 200 minus 200, 0. 200 minus 100, 100. 200 minus 0 to 100. Okay. Now do the same thing for unfavorable. So in the payoff table, between these three values, the biggest is 0. So all minus from 0. 0 minus 0 minus 0 minus 0 minus negative 180 is positive 180. 0 minus negative 20, positive 20. 0 minus 0 is 0. Okay. So I repeat it one more time. Okay. So the biggest value between these two values is 0. So 0 minus minus 180 is 180. 0 minus minus 20, 20. 0 minus 0 is 0. So this is the opportunity loss table. How to interpret the opportunity loss table? So opportunity loss means the loss that occurs because of not taking the opportunity. Okay. In other words, person makes the wrong decision, so he incurs some loss. So for example, if the market is favorable, the correct decision should be building a large plant, because that is when the payoff is highest. But suppose, let's say the market turned out to be favorable, the person build a large plant. That is the correct decision. So he didn't incur any loss, so loss is 0. But what if the person build a small plant? He should have built a large plant, get 200. But because he built a small plant, he only get 100. So how much did he lose? Is 200 minus 100 is 100. Now what if a person didn't build any plant? He should have built a large plant and got 200, but because he didn't build any plant, he only got 0. So how much did he lose? Because he didn't build a large plant is 200 minus 0 is 200. The last model is called minimax regret. This model uses the opportunity loss table. Minimax regret stands for minimum of the maximum. So to use minimax regret, we use the opportunity loss table. So first we have to find the maximum. So for large plant, between these two, the maximum is 180. For small plant, between these two, the maximum is 100. And for no plant, the maximum is 200. Okay. And out of the maximum, we find the minimum, the smallest. So smallest is 100. So the decision according to minimax regret is build small plant. Okay. Now why we use the minimum, not the maximum? Because this one is a loss. When we want to have a loss, we want to have the minimum loss. That's why we take the minimum.